Xbox have just provided us with a brand new Xbox Game Pass drop for the rest of April and into May, and my god, this is an absolutely cracking week. We have 16 games that I'll be covering today, and these include the likes of Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 5, and even huge new Day 1 games coming to the service. So with that out the way, my name is Fletcher, this is Xbox Nation. Make sure to subscribe for more Xbox content every single day, and let's dive right into the Game Pass games coming your way. We are starting off with a return of a massive game, which is none other than Grand Theft Auto 5. I believe this is now the third time that GTA 5 has been available on Xbox Game Pass, but of course it's a welcome return, especially to build up some hype for GTA 6 later this year. A cool aspect though is that GTA 5 will be the enhanced version and is coming to PC Game Pass for the very first time as well this month, and I know many of you on PC have been eagerly anticipating this release. I don't think I need to really dive into what GTA is about, as 99.9% of people worldwide know about this blockbuster phenomenon at this point. If you want to dive back into the expansive world of Los Santos, or just dive into that huge multiplayer suite known as GTA Online, you can do so when it comes to Xbox Game Pass for all tiers as of today. Shortly after, and on the 16th of April, we have the addition of SpongeBob SquarePants The Patrick Star Game, and honestly, I do recommend you dive into this one if you want a more relaxing and funny game. This one is actually very different compared to the likes of Battle for Bikini Bottom and the more recent Cosmic Shake, and instead chucks you into an open world physics-based playground as Patrick Star. There is little to no story in this entry. It's essentially Goat Simulator, but in the SpongeBob universe, and I actually really enjoyed my time with this one. There is everything from minigames, wacky stunts, different cosmetics, and so much more, and it's such a fun little experience even though there isn't the biggest amount of content here. I think I smashed through the game personally in about 6 to 8 hours, and I was getting all the gamer score. So if you want a silly time prancing around Bikini Bottom and finding nods to loads of different episodes, then this one is well worth diving into this April. If you love the addictive power washing simulator on Xbox Game Pass, then you need to have a look at this next game coming to us on the 17th for all Xbox Game Pass tiers. We have a very different and darker take on this genre with Crime Scene Cleaner. In this one, you will of course grab your trusty mop and sponge and go on a cleaning spree. You will find that when the mess becomes a bit too much, you can also whip out the power washer and clean the outside spaces incredibly deep. Instead of the lovely dirt cleaning of houses and play parks, you'll instead be wiping down blood, disposing of body parts, and making sure you gain enough money to pay your daughter's hospital bills. I know this one has been highly anticipated by many on Xbox for quite some while now, and it's incredible to see it coming day one to Xbox Game Pass. This sort of genre really is something that I do find myself returning to whenever I need my brain to shut down for a bit, and I'm quite looking forward to diving into this darker twist on this genre. On the very same day, we are seeing the lovely little indie coming from the developers of Unpacking, and this new game is called Tempopo. To give you a bit of a small idea about what this game is about, you'll essentially take control of a young girl called Hannah, and when her garden of musical flowers are scattered across the sky, she asks the Tempopo for help returning them. This game looks very chaotic and uncoordinated by nature, but the Tempopo needs Hannah's conducting skills to keep on beat and solve each island's puzzles. As you can see, it really is a puzzle game through and through, and if it's anything in the same vein as Unpacking, then we do have another hidden indie gem on Xbox Game Pass. Of course, you can populate your melodic garden with rescue flowers to enjoy different musical performances, and all of this music can be made entirely by you. Again, this one comes out on the 17th of April as a day one Xbox Game Pass release. I think one game that is high on every single gamer's list for April has to be Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and that is for very good reason. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a groundbreaking turn-based RPG with unique real-time mechanics, making battles more immersive and addictive than we've ever seen before. We will get to dive in and explore a fancy world inspired by Belle Epoque France, in which you'll be battling devastating enemies, some being rather small and others being huge scaling bosses which look absolutely insane. Of course, the big draw and the one thing that made it highly anticipated is the gorgeous looking open world, along with the very in-depth storytelling that the developers have been teasing ever since its reveal. This one is a day one launch into Xbox Game Pass on the 24th of April, and I know many of you cannot wait for this release. I am reviewing Clair Obscur, and I will have this video live prior to release, so make sure you're subscribed down below if you want to hear my thoughts, as you won't want to miss out on this review. A game that I have had the pleasure of playing on Xbox currently prior to its Xbox Game Pass launch is Towerborne, and you need to get excited for when it arrives at the end of April. In this game, the Belfry stands as a beacon of hope and safety amongst the ruins of humanity and the City of Numbers, with monsters lurking right outside the tower's walls. You are an ace in this game, born anew from the spirit realm with skills, grit and determination to protect the people of the Belfry. With spirit companions fighting by your side, you're essentially destined for battle, and it's similar in vein to some classics like Castle Crashers. Stoic have been doing a wonderful job with Towerborne so far, and I've been loving my time with this new IP, and I have so many thoughts and gameplay to show you soon. A video review and coverage will be going live here on the channel in the next few days, so definitely keep an eye out for that. I will say that if you're looking for a great co-op side-scrolling brawler, then this one will need to be on your radar. We have Far Cry 6, 5 and New Dawn on Xbox Game Pass, and it was only a matter of time before we saw more Far Cry games coming to the service. Far Cry 4 will be joining Xbox Game Pass for all tiers on the 30th of April. This one though takes place in the towering Himalayas, and specifically in a place named Krat, and you are travelling there to fulfill your mother's dying wish. In typical Far Cry fashion though, things never go as planned, and you found yourself caught in a civil war to overthrow the oppressive regime of dictator Pagan Min. This one was a direct follow-up to Far Cry 3, and was a fairly good entry which has garnered quite a lot of praise over the years. It of course still has the typical Ubisoft tropes like outpost capturing, caches laying about and so much more, but the real highlight for Far Cry 4 was Pagan Min himself, and also the breadth of scope of the world in terms of its verticality and its beauty. It's one that I really loved upon its launch, and I will heavily recommend it to you on Xbox Game Pass. Strategy fans, you can actually rejoice as we are seeing Anno 1800 arrive onto Xbox Game Pass on the 1st of May. If you're unfamiliar, Anno 1800 is a city building strategy game set in the 19th century during the beginning of the Industrial Age. The game really centers around resource production, management and growth in order to build your very own metropolis. Alongside this though, you can also establish different trade routes, but you have to be mindful of profit margins and build a strong and stable community. You'll need everything from farmers, workers, and everyone to knit together to do the best for the land and their happiness, and you're in turn responsible for making choices to keep that morale high. This is comfortably the most engrossing city builder I've ever played since City Skylines, one that combines an intriguing theme with some enjoyably complex production chains and trading mechanics. Definitely check it out when it comes to Xbox Game Pass at the start of May. Finally, after many months and months of waiting, we are finally seeing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 coming to Xbox Game Pass, and this may signal the start of more Call of Duty and Activision Blizzard games coming to the service later this year. Now, in terms of Modern Warfare reboots since 2019, Modern Warfare 2 is certainly the most mixed, and I know many didn't like the multiplayer. However, the story in this game is excellent and was very welcome follow-up to the incredible Modern Warfare reboot in 2019. Of course, the campaign follows the ragtag team of Soap, Captain Price and many others in some intense and explosive combat. You then have the multiplayer, which is still fairly popular even with its very mixed reviews, and is more slower in pace compared to all the modern titles we have today. Then you have the special ops missions, so if you fancy some co-op shenanigans, this is the way to go. Are you gonna dive into Modern Warfare 2 now that it's on Xbox Game Pass? Let me know down below. One game that I'm incredibly hyped to see come to Xbox Game Pass is none other than DREDGE, and this is a huge indie that you need to play right away. This Lovecraftian fishing adventure game combines chilling horror elements with addictive exploration and resource management. By day, you'll be exploring the mysterious archipelago, upgrading your boat and hauling in some deep sea catches. But by night, the horrors lurking beneath the waves awaken, forcing you to navigate dangerous waters and unravel an ominous mystery. Its mix of relaxing daytime gameplay and intense night terrors make for a gripping, one-of-a-kind experience. If there is one indie game that you need to try, it really is DREDGE, and it comes to Xbox Game Pass on the 6th of May. Joining the Xbox Game Pass library on the 8th of May, Revenge of the Savage Planet reimagines co-op exploration with a very humorous twist. The game is promising us with a unique arsenal of quirky upgrades, and of course the wacky and slapstick humor that the first game was really known for. You can picture yourself wielding a goo cannon to create slippery, sticky or even flammable surfaces, a whip to fend off different strange creatures, and a grapple for swift movement, and also a lasso to capture critters for your own research. This game looks to transform its world into a dynamic playground, where every tool offers a unique way to solve puzzles and overcome challenges. With a focus on creative problem solving and cooperative strategy, you are invited to experiment with different approaches in a vibrant, ever-changing environment. As you can see, this one is going into a third-person action-adventure route instead of an FPS like the first game. But if you're interested, this adventure lands on the 8th of May, and it will be available as a day one release on Xbox Game Pass. If you have somehow been living under a rock, Doom the Dark Ages is coming soon as a day one Xbox Game Pass release, and May is almost here for us to experience this next masterpiece from id Software. The gameplay that we've seen so far has given us a bigger glimpse at the sort of semi-open world arenas that we can expect to dive into, alongside the combat, which has definitely undergone a very large change. Instead of the flashy parkour that we saw in Doom Eternal, it looks as though Doom the Dark Ages has taken a more original approach to this franchise, and actually taken us back to the good old days of what made the original Doom so great back on the N64. The movement here is weightier, the combat is more about timing and parrying, and there's no need for you to conserve your ammo. It looks fantastic, and id Software have always done wonders with the franchise since the reboot back in 2016. Are you looking forward to Doom the Dark Ages? You'll have to let me know in the comments below. To a T is the next game coming to us on Xbox Game Pass on the 28th of May, and is actually the next title from the Katamari Damacy maker himself. To a T is described as a 3D narrative adventure with a strong focus on character, interaction, story, and exploration, according to the official announcement. We will take on the role of a teen who has a unique posture as they try to live their life in a small coastal town. There's a giraffe here, there's also a dog who helps the team with issues that arrive from their constant T-posing, and so much more. It looks like an incredibly unique indie title, and the Katamari games have always had that sort of unique but weird flair to them. No doubt this one will bring us some insanely unique mechanics, and we can look forward to trying it as a day one release when it comes to Xbox Game Pass later this May. Now, Spray Paint Simulator was revealed over the past week, another game that is similar in vein to the Power Wash Simulator genre, but at present we only have a May release window for this one game. In Spray Paint Simulator, it will be your job to give a fresh coat of paint to worn out surfaces, spanning everything from kitchens to a giant robot. You'll also have to build your own spray painting business along the way, so there'll be a ton of content for us to dive into. The game also seems to have a lot in common with Power Wash Simulator, and that is good news as it will feature co-op support like the other game does. So you'll be able to enjoy your spray painting with a friend on Xbox Game Pass. We're still waiting on a definite release date for this new game, so I'll let you know more details soon. At the moment, we do know it has that May release window, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on future updates. We do have one game coming to Xbox Game Pass Standard for this month, so if you're part of this tier, you can look forward to the lightning fast first-person action game called Neon White. Boasting a rather eclectic mix of genres, this game combined trigger-happy gunplay with speedrunning focused puzzle platforming elements and inventive card-based combat mechanics. These varied gameplay elements worked surprisingly well together, so much and so in fact that Neon White ended up being one of the biggest and highly rated games of 2022. The game is currently on Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and PC, and has been a very big hit on Game Pass since it arrived on the service late last year. If you have Xbox Game Pass Standard, it's well worth checking out Neon White when it comes to the tier on the 16th of April. In case you missed it over the past week, we did see a shadow drop of EA Sports NHL 25 on Xbox Game Pass via EA Play, so if you want your hockey fix, you can play that one right now. I don't think I really need to explain much about this title as it is ice hockey. It includes some new features across the board like most sports iterations from EA, and looks to be better than the previous entry, which we kinda do expect every single year. Although I didn't actually have a chance to review NHL 25 last year, I've been playing it a fair bit over the past few months. I do have to say though, it's a pretty decent version that doesn't make too many sweeping changes. The new features are still pretty cool though, and I do recommend you dive in and check it out now that it's on Xbox Game Pass. Now, a huge reveal that has been found by many outlets and users online is that the Elder Scrolls Oblivion Remaster is a real thing, and we even have some insane screenshots for this upcoming remaster. I will chuck them on screen throughout this section, but this really does corroborate the fact that we may be seeing the release as early as next week as a shadow drop, and of course this will be a day one drop onto Xbox Game Pass as it is a Xbox first party title. There is a lot of murmurs online from insiders that we could see it come next week on the 21st, but again, this is still yet to be confirmed by Xbox, so it's all still kind of up in the air at this point. The screenshots though look absolutely stunning, and I can't wait to dive back into Oblivion as it's one of my favourite RPGs of all time. I will update you as soon as I hear anything more, so stay tuned to the channel as this all drops. Unfortunately though, as we do have new Game Pass drops, that does mean we have some games leaving the service at the end of April. The following games are leaving the Game Pass library soon, so be sure to jump back in before they go, and remember to use your 20% membership discount to save on your purchase if you want to keep them in your library forever. The following games leaving are as follows: Have a Nice Death, Kona 2 Broom, Sniper Elite 5, The Last Case of Benedict Fox, Thirsty Suitors, and The Rewinder. These are going on the 30th, and it's such a shame to see some awesome games leaving so soon. So what game are you looking forward to in this Xbox Game Pass drop, and are you excited for the Oblivion remaster? Let me know down in the comments below. Remember to like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more Xbox content like this every single day. Whilst here though, why don't you check out the video on screen now, as I covered the 20 best single player games you can play right now on Xbox Game Pass in 2025.